New year, new beginning. It's time for a New Year's resolution. Behavioral scientist Tim Bono says, not so fast.
My take on it is that maybe January is not the best time.
Bono is a lecturer in psychological and brain sciences at Washington University in St. Louis. As a behavioral scientist, Bono conducts research on positive psychology, which looks at predictors of health and well-being in day-to-day lives. Reviewing the research and considering New Year's resolutions, Bono shares a new perspective about setting new goals on January 1.
I think it's a fine idea. It's a great thing to identify some new goals that we have for ourselves at the start of a new year. And if in your past you have found that setting New Year's resolutions is something that works for you and you're able to follow through with them, power to you, go for it.
But if not, maybe ringing in the new year with a New Year's resolution is not the best thing to do.
That requires a certain level of mental energy and cognitive effort and motivation, and those things can be really hard to come by at the start of a new year. There are some studies that have found that the majority of people who set New Year's resolutions are not able to follow through with them. And if you should find yourself in that category, instead of drawing the conclusion that you're no good at setting New Year's resolutions or you're not capable of following through on them, I think it's worthwhile to bring awareness to the fact that there's a lot of things that undermine motivation in the early months of a new year.
As wonderful as the holiday season can be for so many people, it can also be exhausting.
A lot of people just feel a sense of fatigue at the beginning of a new year. There's this build up to the holidays, and there's a lot of anticipation, a lot of expectations about what's supposed to happen during the holiday season. For some people, plans don't always turn out as they were hoping or expecting, and so there's a sense of disappointment that they're carrying through into the new year. But even if things have gone perfectly, there's still a sense of tiredness that people have.
Other things happen too that hit families very hard this time of year.
There are relationships that have ended, or there are people who are no longer with us, and that can create a sense of grief and loneliness, and they might be carrying that with them. Those psychological states are not quite conducive to setting new goals and having the wherewithal to follow through with them.
And there's the weather. The wintertime blues. Some might even go so far as to say,
winter sucks. You can use that. That's a large part of the reason why it's difficult to carry out these goals.
There's truth to this in the research.
Exposure to natural sunlight itself is a huge contributor to our overall psychological health and well-being. When natural sunlight enters the visual system, it activates a neural circuit that regulates mood and motivation and mental acuity. Most of us experience some form of the winter blues during January through about March. And for some people, that becomes a full-blown clinical disorder, seasonal affective disorder. And it's due largely to the fact that the days are shorter and the weather, the snowstorms and everything else that keeps people in their homes. They're not out, they're not socializing as much. And all of that can really take a toll on our mood, which can then translate into less willingness, less motivation to carry out other behaviors like setting new goals.
And if your New Year's goal has something to do with fitness and exercise, winter weather can stop people in their tracks.
On the day that I'm supposed to run 5 miles in Forest Park, there's a snowstorm or it's 20 degrees outside. When the weather is crummy, people are less willing to leave their homes, and therefore they're not going to be in the environments that are necessary to carry out those goals.
For this type of New Year's resolution and any resolution, Bono says it's okay to plan the goals for later in the year. Maybe the best time is springtime.
You might call that spring renewal. We do spring cleaning in our homes, we plant seeds in our gardens, and it could also be a time for us to think about what are the new things, the new initiatives that we also want to be incorporating into our lives.